Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, my girlfriend is hot-tempered. Got an email here from a viewer, and he says, "Hey Coach, how are you doing?" Doing fucking awesome, thanks for asking. I have an issue that I would like to solve in my relationship. My girlfriend is a bit hot-tempered, and whenever she has a problem, whenever something's not working out, she lets her emotions affect our relationship. She starts to talk in a rude tone with me, and I really don't appreciate it. I really love her, but this kind of thing makes me extremely irritated. Well, it's one of the reasons why she continues to do it is because she sees that it gets under your skin. And the thing you got to understand about being in a relationship with a woman is that when they sense weakness in their man, it's like a chink in the armor, and they're going to dig at that weakness because the idea is to get you to grow and become more of a man so you can handle it. But when you continually get butthurt and irritated, instead of being the charming James Bond, I mean, think about it. Does James Bond ever sweat when it comes to women? Does he ever feel fearful? Does he ever get irritated with a woman when she's nasty to him? No, because when she is, or she's like, "You're never going to have me" kind of thing, he just gives her that smirk, and he has some kind of smart-ass, charming comeback that always makes her bust out laughing because they're great. Because one of the best things that you can use with women is humor, especially when they're being a bitch to you. Like, I'll give an example. I was at a store recently and I was waiting in line. I was waiting for something to get fixed on my computer. And while I was there was this really cute young girl that was next to me, and she was having problems with her smartphone. And so she starts berating the clerk, and this guy's being really nice to her and gentlemanly, and he's answering the questions like a good salesperson, because these guys are trained very well to fix things, even though the chick was being a jackass. And what I did was I busted her on her bad behavior. And I said something like, "Hey, I'm really glad that you're in such a good mood." Or I think what I said was, I looked at him and I just said, "Dude, whatever you do, don't piss her off." Because it was obvious she was pissed off and irritated. And as soon as I said that, she started giggling and bust out laughing. She started apologizing to him because I called her out on her bad behavior, and I let her know in a funny, charming way that it was inappropriate. Instead of being, "Wow, you're a fucking bitch. God." You know, I could have easily said that. And most guys that don't understand women, that's what they do. They get pissed off and they get bitch, and they get combative when their woman or their girlfriend says something. So when your girlfriend's nasty like that, you just say to her, "I really appreciate it when you're upset about something, how you always talk to me in a sweet, loving tone instead of being nasty and irritable." And you just bust her out on that. And if she keeps doing it, just say, "Look, I love you, honey, and obviously something's wrong, something's upsetting you, but you need to talk to me in a sweet, loving tone. And if you can't do that right now, then I'm going to put you in timeout." And then just grab her hand and turn around and just spank her on the butt and call her a brat. And just say, "I'm going to send you to your room until you can be nice and sweet to me." And you have fun with it, and you be charming with it. Because that will get her to change her state completely. Because what you're communicating is dominance in that moment. And you're communicating through your actions and your words that her behavior is inappropriate. You're not being a dick about it, but you are using humor and playfulness to basically call her out on the fact that her behavior is inappropriate. And if you do that, she usually say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just really grumpy." It's like, "Well, baby, tell me what's on your mind. What's really upsetting you?" And you got to get her to talk. Because women work through their problems by talking about them, not by having you give them a solution, which is what most guys tend to do in those situations. Is they go into logic and reason mode and they start trying to solve her problem or give her the solutions, which causes her actually to get even more bent out of shape and even more pissed off because she feels like he's not listening to her. And what she really wants in that moment is just for you to listen and to talk. I mean, if you've ever watched a group of women talking, there's usually 6 or 7 different things that they're all talking about at the same time, and most guys look at that and go, "What the fuck?" It's like they're talking about all kinds of random things. It's no, that's how they work out issues or things they've got going inside of them, whereas us guys, we tend to go and want to sit in our man cave and contemplate and figure out a solution. And guys that haven't taken the time to learn the stuff that I talk about in my book and apply it, they think, "Well, I got to solve her problem." And when they try to solve her problem, they're constantly giving her solutions instead of listening, which just pisses her off and irritates her. Because most women think, "My girlfriends totally get it. They totally get where I'm coming from," because the girlfriends just get them to talk about it. And so when you do that in that moment, that's the perfect way to handle it. So He says, we've had some fights over this problem. She knows that I hate it, but still nothing changed. And that's because you argue with her. Men who understand women, they don't argue with women. They communicate in a loving, adult manner. When a woman's behavior is inappropriate, we use humor and charm and banter and playfulness to get her to be sweet and charming. And just like I did and when I was in a store recently, waiting, and that girl showed up and she started being bitchy to that guy. I do that crap all the time because women are irritable or whatever. I'll just say, wow, I'm really glad I showed up on a day where you're in a good mood. And I'll say stuff like that. And they'll giggle and laugh. And it's a nice way of me calling them out on their bullshit, basically. And usually they'll start apologizing for it. He says, probably expressing myself after she is doing these kinds of things is not appropriate. Yeah, and I would say the latter half of my book, the last, say, 3/4 of my book, focuses a lot on relationship skills, communication skills, and understanding when it's time to listen and when it's time to offer her advice. And if you're ever talking to your girl and you're unsure whether she wants your advice or she just wants you to listen, just ask her. Say, do you want my advice or do you want me just to listen? And she'll tell you. She'll say, I just want you to listen. And when she says that, and you just go, okay, and you just keep her talking. What else? Tell me more. Don't leave anything out. And then every once in a while, every couple of minutes, you repeat some of what she just said to you, and you just say, so when you this, and that happened, it made you feel blah, 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 blah. She'll go, yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, what else, honey? Tell me more. And you just keep her talking. And then it'll get to a point in the conversation where she goes, oh, I feel so much better. I'm so glad we talked. And you're internally thinking, I didn't fucking do anything. Because you really didn't. All she wanted to do was to talk and work out her own problems and issues and share and relate to you with what's going on inside of her. And you listen to her. Because one of the biggest complaints that women in relationships will say is they'll all roll their eyes and go, he never listens to me. He never listens to me. And that's why. Because guys try to solve their problem instead of just listening and getting her to open up and talk and communicate. Because as she opens up and she spills her guts and what's going on inside of her, she gets all lovey-dovey and she stops being bitchy and she'll apologize again. She'll say, I'm so sorry I was nasty to you in the beginning. I love you so much. And then you'll have great, fantastic make-up sex. He says, is there any way I can make her change this behavior? This is something that I could never accept from somebody. I have a negative side of having a big ego, so it's really impossible for me to swallow. How would you recommend me to act in such situations? That's what I would do. Exactly what I said in the video is how you want to handle this situation. You got to get her to talk, you got to get her to communicate, and she's not done until she gets to the point where she does this. Oh, I'm so glad we talked. Honey, I love you. You're amazing. And until you hear that, I feel so much better. Until you hear that, she's not done talking and working through it. And when she works through it and she feels like she's been able to communicate her feelings or what she's hurt about or what she's upset about, and even if it's something that she's mad at you about, don't take it personally. Don't get butthurt about it. And especially like when she brings up other things that maybe have happened 2 years ago or 10 years ago or 6 months ago or last week, and you think, why does she always bring up the same shit that happened? It's because what she's trying to communicate to you, and why she brings up old things, is she's just simply trying to communicate that you've basically hurt me once again the same way that you did 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, whatever it happens to be. And you just got to learn to recognize that and not take it personally, so you can get her to open up and to communicate, and in essence just sit there and watch her and listen to her as she works through her problems and her emotions or whatever is upsetting her. And if she wants your advice, just ask her, say, do you want my advice or do you want me to listen? And it's really simple. You do that enough times, the time till you get to the point where she says, oh, I feel so much better, I'm so glad we talked. Those moments, it may take you 10 minutes or a half hour or an hour initially, but as you do it enough, it'll get to the point where when those things come up, she'll work through them in a matter of minutes because you'll get really good at it. And then you just walk away, you're like, this is so fucking easy. Because it really is. When you understand what to do, it's like you'll never argue with your girlfriend again because there's no point. And when you argue with your girlfriend, all you're doing is communicating that you don't understand her and you don't understand women and you don't understand how to communicate with a woman, which simply pisses her off and creates more problems and causes more distance in your relationship. So if you have a question that you want to ask me, or there's a topic you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which is on the left-hand side of your screen. Send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max detailing your questions, your situation, your challenges. And just give me several days to get back to you. And if you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, which I highly recommend, on my website, underneath the email sign-up box, there's a box that'll have a link to the Amazon Kindle download page. Once you get to the download page, if you don't have a Kindle e-reader device, there's a button on the right-hand side that will open up a window. You can download a free e-reader app for your smartphone, your tablet device, or your computer, and it only takes a few more seconds after that to complete the purchase of my book, and you'll be reading it in no time. If you appreciate the value of the information in my videos, or my articles, or the ebook that I have on my website, like if you don't have access to Amazon and your Amazon.com in your country, you can read my book for free on my website. Just simply sign up for my newsletter, and on the members area, you'll be able to read it. And if you appreciate the value of the information I offer, you can show your appreciation by going to the Wibbia toolbar, which is at the bottom of your screen on my website. Click the PayPal donate button. Donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. And I will talk to you soon.